We're
live?
Yes.
Oh, because it doesn't look like the Chiefs are. Oh, Brandon, what is this?
What? We're late.
We're just we're about 2 hours late. Just a smidge, just a little tardy.
Just rough Monday. We'll put it that way, huh?
It's yes, in more ways than one. Yes, it's a rough Monday, but folks, we are here with another edition, a little bit later than usual, of the Grossi Perna Show, otherwise known as G. Yes. And we got a lot. You can't see me. A lot of things to break down today. Oh, we're gonna do some recapping of week 7. Holy freaking fracking crap! But Brandon Perna, I know you were feeling it yesterday. I saw that tweet. I knew it from the beginning. There's only one thing really to say.
Meow.
And that's Kitty goes freaking fracking meow.
The Bengals. Wow. I cannot wait to see how high they climb in our power rankings tomorrow, Tom.
It's going to be wild. Yeah.
We're going to hype up the Bengals. We're going to talk about how dog crap the Chiefs are because they is not good.
No.
I watched that whole game.
Yep.
And boy, oh boy, does that team have some issues. Bengals upset Ravens. So nice. Tom Brady throws his millionth touchdown pass ever. We'll dive into that. The Bears, they look like they're in trouble on many levels. Many. Justin Fields played horrible, but it's not all his fault right now. Also, Matt Nagy this morning tests positive for COVID. So
it's like Packers DC Joe Barry.
Yeah, if I were Nagy, I would be like, oh yeah, I called a horrible game because of COVID. Sorry guys, COVID got me.
That's
but before we start,
let
me just shout out one Tom Grossi, ladies and gentlemen. He not only is a machine, working his butt off on Sundays, he's managing behind the scenes a disaster with his dog that he loves. Had to take him back to the vet today.
Yep.
And Tom is dedicated to doing this show. It doesn't matter how crazy things get on his end. He's going to make it work.
It's true.
And I respect the hell out of Tom's dedication to doing this show. It's the reason I wanted to do this show with him, beyond thinking that Tom is an amazing, talented creator, funny, knowledgeable about football. The real reason I was like, I want to work with Tom. It's because, and I've said this before, he's one of the few people I see out there working harder than me. And that impresses me. And everybody here just needs to give Tom and that pup some love because he is going through the ringer right now. And Tom, I just want to say, I love you, man. I appreciate your hard work here. And we show up no matter how crazy shit gets in our lives because we love doing this. That's what's crazy. I look forward to this.
Yeah.
And Tom had to make some magic happen just to be here today. So don't let that go unnoticed.
That was so nice, Brandon Perna.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of complimenting in my life, so I got it all out of the way right there.
And now I'm done for the year.
2022, I got to figure out where I will compliment somebody. But yeah, no, I appreciate you doing it, Tom. You could have canceled today. Totally understandable if you did, but look at us here in the mix.
We don't cancel. We don't. We just postpone. I felt bad for postponing, but yeah, it's I appreciate you, buddy. Hopefully everything will be less crazy as the week goes on, but we'll We'll see. We'll see. I'm tired of going to the vet.
Yeah.
Sinclair is very tired of going to the vet.
I've been there. When we first got our cat, she had, like they give kittens, they fix them, automatic hysterectomy.
Yeah.
We got a cat. She had that. Well, we got her and then she had to get it right away. And she was super young.
Sure.
And she had the cone on, which with the cat I think is crazy too. It's like a dog, cat in a cone. Horrible.
Yeah.
But the exact same thing. Her stitchers started like oozing green shit because they messed it up, took her back in. They had to redo the surgery, not once, but twice. So it was like, a period of 4 weeks where it was just hell with the cat. And during that time, just to make things even crazier, it was during the football season. I was trying to get things going. This was years ago. And then our refrigerator went out on top of all of that stuff. So I had to get all of this food out there, go get the cheapest refrigerator they had.
Yeah.
So sometimes when it rains, it pours. I feel for you. And when you're with like a pet going through that, you just feel bad for them because they don't know what's going on.
No.
They just want to eat their wounds because it's hurting them. And it's a crap show. It's a crap show, man.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, again, I just put it out on Twitter, and then we'll move on to the sports. Why peoples are here, but yeah, the biopsy came back, and it is unlikely that the cancer is going to grow back in that area. So that's a good thing.
That's
because
good.
she grew that type of tumor. It could pop up in the future, but it's looking good. The problem is she completely tore open her wound, and that's the thing. I'm with her all day. Like during my streams yesterday, she's sleeping downstairs, like right in front of me. And like, it's above her, like inner thigh. And so like, anytime she moves, she's putting pressure on it. And it's a disaster. So yeah, I appreciate the flexibility, Brandon Perna. I appreciate the flexibility, viewers. I know it's later than usual than our scheduled time. That's
why I do yoga.
Hopefully we'll rock it. We'll rock and roll. And now that's a comment. Now that is
that's pretty funny.
That's fantastic. So yeah, let's hope I was writing the AFC West reaction while I was sitting in the vet. So
it never stops.
It just never stops. All right. Speaking of things that are stopping, let's talk about the light of Brandon Perna's life. And you might think that's his wife, his baby, and his family. No, it's the Chiefs being in the basement with the Denver Broncos.
Second, yeah.
Lenny and Breck. It's the Chiefs. Again, kudos to Brandon Perna. Kudos to Brandon Perna. Because it is Brandon Perna who came up with the title weeks ago, asking if the Chiefs were in trouble on GPS, and we were diving in there, and he was the canary in a coal mine. That's right. The canary was there, and he's like, tweet, mofo, you bad. He's so bad. Well, and yesterday,
when you see a team and their struggles are on defense, when their defense looks like a liability, that's usually a red flag. And we saw that early in the season with Kansas City. We saw Patrick Mahomes starting to turn the ball over a little too frequently. That trend has continued. 9 interceptions for Mahomes, tied with only Zach Wilson. To be fair to Mahomes, Wilson missed most of the Jets game before he had a chance to, throw too many interceptions. Mike White jumped in there for him and carried on that tradition. But here's what you should like if you're a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
And you just sometimes your team gets their butt kicked.
Sometimes it happens.
It happened to the Broncos on Thursday night, even though the score was closer.
Yeah.
But like a Chiefs fan has to go into that game thinking, yo, if we contain Derrick Henry, if this team just slows Derrick Henry down, we've got a chance.
Yep.
And they did that. The Chiefs actually did a very good job stopping Derrick Henry.
They didn't have to worry about him running. They just had to worry about him passing.
He threw touchdowns, and Ryan Tannehill just tore him apart. Like,
oh, yeah.
Every opportunity the Titans got, they took advantage of. And every time the Chiefs started to build some momentum, they made mistakes. It wasn't even just the turnovers by Mahomes. There were these holding penalties that kept happening for the Chiefs in inopportune times.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, oh, that's the Broncos formula right there. two good plays, and then boom, get in 1st and 20, and you can't dig yourself out of that hole. So penalties, defense being bad just all around. You can run on the Chiefs. Titans didn't even need to run on them. They threw all over the place.
Yep.
And
AJ Brown, man.
AJ, I heard you did not start him in fantasy.
I didn't. I didn't. But it was in our ESPN league, and Scooter had all Cowboys guys going, and they're all on bye. So it was okay. It was okay.
Scoots.
Chris, what at 25 is Thursday yet? Oh, we'll talk about Thursday.
Oh, you got the Packers Cardinals Thursday? What a game that will be.
That's gonna be a little something. That's gonna be a little something. But let's real quick, because I don't want to move away from the Chiefs right now. There's two main things I want to talk about. We know the Chiefs defense has been garbage, right? And we've said this for the past few weeks now. That in order for the Chiefs to be like successful, their offense needs to play like flawless football because of how badly their defense is, or how badly their defense is performing. So yesterday, you just had a perfect storm of neither of those things happening. They focused on Derrick Henry. They're like, you know what, let's stack the box. Let's stop the run. And Ryan Tannehill tore them apart, was scoring all types of points. And that game was over by like halftime.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, maybe Mahomes can come back and pull some magic like he always does, like he did against the Washington football team. But he did not. And I mean, they're playing the Giants next Monday night on Monday Night Football, which, yeah, whatever. But like, you know, and they'll be able to bounce back from that. But like looking at the Chiefs right now, like it's so bad in so many areas. And I think one of my favorite comments last night from the stream was, well, it's a good thing they signed Josh Gordon.
Yeah, who I think caught 0 passes in that game.
But like, that's the thing. Like your offensive line is struggling. Your defense is struggling. There's so many that you don't have a run game established. Like there's so many things wrong that there's no consistency. It's just like you go up against a good team, which is the following question with the Titans. Like you're going to get slapped. And they did. They got slapped real hard.
They got slapped around. What's interesting about the Titans is their defensive front starting to put together a nice run. So it's not just that they stopped Derrick Henry, which your front seven, that's their job in a game like this. The same reason I think they beat the Bills is because they're getting pressure. They're getting pressure on the opposing quarterback, and Mahomes was under duress all game. He took a lot of hits, not even just sacks. He was getting hit. He took that brutal knee shot to the head late.
Yep.
But yeah, like Mahomes was never able to like really feel comfortable back there. And I think Josh Allen was under the same pressure. He played better. Like he did way better than Mahomes.
Yeah.
If Tennessee, if that becomes a consistent thing for them where they are getting the amount of pressures they got against the Chiefs, then they're a very dangerous team because they can control the ball on the other side. Like Ryan Tannehill continues to just be one of the most underrated smart quarterbacks. Like he does not put his team in bad situations. Just a very effective passer. AJ Brown and Julio, as long as they can stay healthy, that team is going to be dangerous. And that's, you know, they've got the Colts to worry about basically at this point in their own division. But
hey, Tyrod Taylor's coming back, so you watch out. But I mean, the force field, like that was the question. Like, are the Titans legit now? And I feel like they, after beating 2 playoff contending teams, because the stat that you put in the rundown, which is still impressive, the Chiefs are the 3rd highest scoring offense, and they only put up 3 points on Sunday. And that's still, like, despite that. So their offense can still rain down points. Like the rains down in Africa. They can do it. Toto is singing about them. But, like, the Titans went up against the Bills, who have the number 1 offense and the number 1 defense at the point. They shut them down, held them just enough. They had 3 red zone stops, which were crucial for them. And then they went and slapped the ever-living piss out of the Chiefs. I think they're legit.
Yeah, Titans are legit. 3 points, still the 3rd highest scoring offense, which is crazy. And if I were a smarter comedic mind, after you said Toto, I would have made a Wizard of Oz reference and Kansas and Chiefs and put it together poetically. But instead, I just described how stupid I am in a long-winded
Listen,
way.
it's not our time. I threw it all off. That's
yeah. If this were in the morning, I would have nailed that joke.
Yeah. Hey, listen, yeah, I know, and that's on me. So Wednesday will be much better. So it'll be much better. But yeah, so Titans legit. Chiefs are falling down in a hurry, in a real hurry. And I feel like their schedule is not the easiest either. Like, because they won their division last year, so they have a tougher schedule. Like, it's not going to be, smooth sailing for them. They do have the Packers in. What's a rundown?
What's a rundown?
Want that rundown? Should be taking a lot of time on it. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a matter of they have the Packers in a couple of weeks, and the Packers. Hold on, Brandon Perna, get your counter out. Despite all the injuries, keep on winning.
The streak stays alive.
You know whose streak ended? Unfortunately, Preston Smith. His streak of consecutive games did come to an end on Sunday because he was unable to play. Kevin King not showing up yet again because he is dealing with an injury.
Damn.
But listen, the Green Bay Packers still took care of business, thankfully, because of Taylor Heineke giving himself up at the 1, which was really helpful. So thank you, Tyler. Appreciate that. But yeah, Packers still pulling off dubs, and I can't wait to see what happens on Thursday. I legitimately am excited for that game because either way, it's a litmus test to be like, okay, where are we against one of the best teams in the NFL right now?
Yeah, for both teams, really. And two things. One, just remind me to mention J.J. Watt because his soundbite kind of went viral when he was like, maybe we don't need, like, he was insinuating that people were making excuses for why the Cardinals are good. Maybe that's like a local thing, but I feel like everybody's been unanimously like, yeah, Arizona's pretty good since like week 3.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's just a motivation thing where he's like, nobody believes in us. Maybe we're just good because we're better than everyone. Like he was like yelling that on the sidelines. And I think they played it on one of the NFL shows. I don't know where that's coming from. I think everybody thinks the Cardinals are fucking good. So
I think they think they're good. I think there's a little bit of like I picked the Browns to beat them because I thought the Browns would be healthy and not have everyone gone. It was in Cleveland. So I think it's a matter of like being for real, I guess.
Now that he said that, the Packers are going to beat him on prime time. It's going to be hilarious.
Dude, I said this to people, and I have no, because right now they're the number 1 offense and defense, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or they're the number 1 defense, definitely. And then they're like close to one of the highest scoring offenses.
The Cards?
Yeah. They're like top 5 easy for their offense. But in terms of how I'm feeling about this game, I don't know. I'm getting callbacks to the Texans game from years ago when the Packers, they weren't doing so hot. They went in and they kicked the crap out of the Texans. I have nothing to back that up. Nothing. Because the Cardinals are a very good team.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a fun game on Thursday. Or I'm just going to cry a lot. Either one. Ra's al Ghul. Rasul Douglas. Yeah, Rasul Douglas. He played well. He got hurt yesterday, but he came back in and he played real good. He allowed 1 catch, I think, for like 4 yards. He played really. Rashawn Gary, 10 pressures yesterday. 10.
Yeah, he was good. He stood out on the highlights. I don't know if this is controversial or not. I like the Packers all green uniforms. I think they're better.
Oh no, their throwbacks are amazing.
They look good to me. I'm like, Packers should do this all. Like yellow should be an accent. It should never be featured on pants unless it's the Chargers.
That's true.
I move for all green for the Packers with the full yellow helmets. I thought it was a sleek look. I'm going through on the perm. Don't you worry.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
It might not be this week. It might be next week, but the perm will be glorious.
Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. Oh, it's going to be something.
It'll be there. I should tell you.
Appreciate you, Joseph. Yeah. So, I mean, talk about the Packers real quick. Yeah, they played well. They didn't make a single red zone stop through the first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I saw
a single one. And they made 4 yesterday. 4. So maybe that's called improvement. That's called improvement.
As long as they play a bottom 5 red zone offense, they solid.
We're crushing it. And people were saying, like, because Heineke ran all over us, like he ran 10 times, got 95 yards. I feel like Kyler Murray, the Packers usually struggle with mobile quarterbacks, but I feel like that's going to be in the game plan to plan for Kyler Murray because you saw what he could do. I mean, they struggled in the beginning against the Texans, and I was like, oh, like what's happening here? And then they're like, that's cute, and held the Texans to 5 whole points.
Yeah. I mean, I think Arizona's weakness might be protecting Kyler Murray a little bit. So he was sacked 4 times in that game, again, against the Texans, and he was hit a lot. So if there's hope for the Packers, I think it's their pass rush. Gary, maybe he has to have another 10 pressure game or whatever.
I'm hoping, and hopefully Preston Smith is back. You know, I'm hoping David Bakhtiari, because their defense is no joke either. So it's going to be a tough game for the Packers to try and win, but I'm excited to actually see how they do against this team.
Yeah, it's the Packers are ready for this game. They gotta be.
It's a short week. It's an away game. They're injured, but let's see how they play. Like let's see how
a game like Thursday lets you as a fan know how all in you can be with your team.
Yeah.
Because if the Packers can lose that game, but it's just got to be close. You know what I mean? They have to play a solid game, and maybe they lose because they get Hail Murray'd at the end of the game. Oh, I mean, we got the 2 best Hail Mary QBs in the NFL going at it. Oh, that's what I want to see. I want to see 2 Hail Marys in this game, both of them working. Whichever team has it last wins.
Okay, the Packers win that way. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the Packers winning that way. Yeah, I know Joe Barry not being there is kind of a problem because he's got the COVID, so that's a bit of an issue. But listen, Cliff Kingsbury didn't do anything like last week, and they were still able to be dominant. So maybe
coaches are overrated.
It's fine. They barely do anything. They just they're doing stuff.
Look at what old Dan Campbell did this weekend. Maybe the best coached game of the entire weekend, and his team still lost because his quarterback threw a red zone pick to Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. But speaking of this,
that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. This next super chat, rough day in Chicago. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears, Brandon Perna, because I would love to talk about the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears got the holy hell beaten out of them by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, 600 touchdowns, and 599 of them were against the Bears on Sunday.
Yeah.
They crushed them. And it wasn't particularly close. Justin Fields did not have himself a good day. And again, not all his fault. 22 for 32, 184 yards, 3 interceptions.
2 fumbles. 5 total turnovers for Fields. He fumbled it 3 times, only lost 2.
Yep.
He was under duress, under pressure. We knew the Bears line was a problem. It continues to be. Here's a little nugget I saw on Twitter.
What do you got?
So one of Fields' picks was a play that he thought was a free play. And that also happened last week. But apparently in his headset, the coaches told him to snap the ball because they thought the Buccaneers had 12 men on the field. So he takes his shot, throws a pick. Turns out they did not have 12 men on the field. So talk about a guy being put in a horrible situation, getting wrong information in his brain pre-snap. You can't do that to a rookie. Like, that's the kind of play you have where you have a veteran you trust. Just make sure you put in the best play for the guy to have a successful outing. And he's getting no help. I don't even know where Justin Fields actually stands as a quarterback because he looks bad, right? They were chanting Fire Nagy. Fire Nagy was like trending like 2 minutes into that game.
Which again, guys, so overreactionary. Okay, keep him for a few more years. Just relax. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna work out. Just extend him for like 1 more contract.
It's making me wonder. Like, is Mitch Trubisky a Hall of Famer? Like, is Matt Nagy just that bad?
Again, years ago, I put out a video saying Mitch Trubisky's not the problem. I'm not saying he's the solution, I'm saying he's amazing, but he wasn't the problem. And look, he wasn't the problem. I mean, it's your offensive line is garbage. Tevin Jenkins being hurt, Like that is something that has nothing to do with, with Matt Nagy, right? Like that, him getting hurt, I think that would have been a big boost for their offensive line. But their offensive line being hurt, that's not their fault, but they needed to invest in it more. 1. 2, the play calling. Khalil Herbert had 100 yards against a good Buccaneers run defense, right? It needs to be like stapled and centered around that run game. And to make Justin Fields do all those things. And when you're saying stuff like that, the opposite of Aaron Rodgers, who like literally has it memorized in his head, he's just like, oh, there's 13 men on the field. Okay, good. I'm going to go and throw a touchdown now.
Yeah.
Like when you have a rookie QB, my concern would be you have Matt Nagy teaching him bad habits. He's learning to run for his life. He's learning to essentially just like go real quick, make bad throws, bad decisions. Like that kind of stuff stays with the QB. And I'm not saying that he's going to be a bust or anything like that. I'm just saying, do you really want Matt Nagy to be the guy who's going to mentor your, franchise QB? And Matt the answer Nagy, to that after Trubisky is a resounding no.
Yeah. Nagy is making a great case for a coach who should be fired immediately before, like you said, instills too many bad things in Justin Fields' brain. He's like a cool uncle who, Justin Fields goes over to his house. He's like, yeah, you're 13. You can have some of my cigarettes now. Go ahead. You know why? Cigarettes rock, dude. Try some of the. Oh, you want to have a beer with Uncle Matt? Go for it. It ain't gonna hurt you. Yeah. Here's some drugs.
Demetrius. Kid. Demetrius told me that he'd be a Packers fan if Matt Nagy got extended one more year. He's a Bears fan, and then he said if he gets one more year, I'm buying a Rodgers jersey and an I Own You hoodie. Perfect. It's perfect.
Like. Here's the because Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur like fire those guys that trends every time the Broncos play now. The difference between Matt Nagy and Vic Fangio is this. Matt Nagy tries to do too much as a coach during a game.
Yep.
Vic Fangio doesn't do enough or anything as a head coach. He's just like this. Should I call
just
it timeout?
Thinking about, he's just like, man, I hope there's no kids on my lawn right now.
Yeah. Oh God. My grandpa was actually a get off my lawn grandpa. Like literally didn't want you stepping on his lawn because it'd mess up the grass. So every time I hear that, I think fondly of my grandpa. Go play football in the street. I don't want you stepping on my grass.
That's accurate. I don't care if it's a highway. Go chase the park cars. I think for the Bears, I mean, they're now with the Vikings. They're chilling. The Packers have a good lead in the division already. And I mean, I think it's just an interesting case study because you had all this hype and there was a lot of hype around them getting Justin Fields. And I made jokes about it by saying, throw Andy Dalton back there as much as you can so he can get murdered behind that O-line and Justin Fields doesn't. I mean, because at this point, where is he? Let's see, Justin Fields. Let's take a look at his stats right now. And I'm not looking at interceptions. Oh, but they're bad. I'm not even looking at the interceptions. What I want to know is how many times that kid has gotten sacked already. And that is...
Are you Fields?
Yeah. Where is it? Oh, here we go. 4, 8... 10, 11, 20, 22 times. He's been sacked 22 times. And he only threw 2 passes week 1. So that doesn't really count. And then he only threw 13 passes week 2. But yeah, 22 times. That man has been sacked. That's a lot of sacks for a young guy to take.
Yeah.
Which can be taken out of context, but
I was trying to think. I was almost there.
It's okay. It's all right. He can't do any harm for 2 weeks. But I think he's vaccinated, so technically he can come back with some positive tests. Can you imagine, like, the locker room's, like, cheering? They're like, oh, thank God, it's a weight off our shoulders. Matt's not back in here. And then he's just like, hey, guys, I'm back. And they're like, no!
That's how the Raiders locker room is right now with Gruden out of there.
Dude, speaking of the Raiders. And you know what? Let me put some emphasis on that. The Raiders.
I hate it. I hate that chant so much.
Number 1 in the division. Number 1.
Yeah, that's because the Chargers had to buy, but
don't worry,
the Raiders are good. But I mean, their wins after Gruden came against the Broncos, the Eagles. I'm not gonna look too much into that, but let me tell you something. Old Derek Carr is playing some great QB. Dude is on fire right now.
Oh yeah.
He had 16 straight completions in that game. He pointed out afterwards his brother had 22 straight completions one time, so it doesn't matter because his brother's still going to make fun of him. But also, he pushed the ball down the field.
Yep.
And I saw a stat. He went 7 of 7 on passes over 10 yards and had a perfect QB rating for passes over 10 yards. So when he's taking his shots, he is accurate. He had one amazing throw to Zay Jones down the right sideline. Like, as the one team in the AFC West who doesn't have a quarterback, well, I mean, we're welcoming the Chiefs into that club now because I'll take Teddy over Patty Mahomes any day. I'm reaching, but yeah, I mean, Derek Carr, Herbert, I hate how good they look. I just hate it.
Well, the thing that has stood out to me since Gruden has left for the past 2 weeks is them utilizing Kenyon Drake. Finally, they're utilizing him, and they're utilizing Josh Jacobs. Kenyon Drake got more carries than Josh Jacobs did. Kenyon Drake also finished with 69 yards. Nice. But he did, that dual threat, because Kenyon Drake can be a good running back. He doesn't need to be the featured guy, but he offers something different than Josh Jacobs, right? Like Josh Jacobs could be kind of like that bruiser guy, and Kenyon Drake could just be like that quick, could be the lightning to the thunder, if you will. So I think it just gives defenses another thing to look out for and try to defend. And their receivers aren't scrubs either. So,
yeah. Kenyon Drake, always a backup running back who looks slightly better than the starter, but never gets to be the starter. Yeah.
And then not so much.
Yeah. No, and I mean, the Raiders are they're kind of coming together on all the levels right now. And even Yannick Ngakoue sort of picking up from a little bit of slow start to the season. But if him and Crosby become dueling edge rushers that are always an issue, that is a huge benefit to your defense when you're getting pressure from either side on any snap without having to bring extra rushers. So yeah, they could be very dangerous, but I need to see them do this, what they've done the last 2 weeks against a really good team. I'm still waiting for that, but they on my radar for good teams reluctantly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we are in the twilight zone, okay? We're in the twilight zone. The Bengals are number 1 in the AFC. Not their division, not just their division, the entirety of the AFC.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, wait, they're number 1 overall, the Bengals?
Yeah. In the entire AFC. You look up that playoff picture right now. They are number 1. The Raiders are number 2.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, just saying. By the way, I saw this. Oh my God. I answered this question a cajillion times yesterday about Heineke, the diving touchdown, because he didn't dive. There was a defender that was right near him and he gave himself up. He literally dropped to his knees. And so the rule is that once, whether it's a slide, whether it's a dropping to the knee or whatever, it's down at the point of contact. So
is this when he tried to jump up? He tried to jump through the pile?
He literally, his dive was he fell onto his knees and then rolled into the end zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
was it the same play where the ball kind of came loose and he had to
No. That was the play afterwards where he went for a QB sneak and then didn't get it. So
okay, so he had 2 shitty plays back to back.
Yeah, he literally had a touchdown and then he did a Lambeau leap because he's a Packers fan. He was a Packers fan growing up, and then they called the touchdown back, and I was like,
ooh, that's tough. That's a tough scene.
That's it. But yeah, so the Bengals, man, holy crap, number 1 in the AFC, and now the Packers win over them looks even more impressive. Just want to say that. Just want to throw my little hat in there just for a hot, quick little minute. But the Bengals, I thought they could win. It was possible against the Ravens. It's a divisional match, whatever. But they kicked the crap out of them. And it's not listen, we all know Jamar Chase is amazing, right? And that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase is incredible. Connection is incredible. But it's their defense that I think is really starting to impress people because they were able to like contain Lamar Jackson and they were able to like step up and they look miles ahead better than they were last year. So Kitty goes meow. That's what Tom Grossi has to say.
Yeah. It's the puzzling thing is the other Bengals loss this year was to the Bears.
Yes.
So here's what I'm thinking, because I think that's an anomaly. That's an outlier.
Sure.
It was the Andy Dalton revenge game, as we all know. Okay. He gets the W there. And as we've seen in the big quarterback revenge games this season, Matthew Stafford and the Rams kept it close against the Lions. Even old Tom Brady kept it a little too close against the Patriots. So Andy Dalton getting that win, very impressive for Dalton. But that had close game written all over it based on the stat I just found and making up as I go along here.
Yep.
But since then, Bengals on defense, as we talked about, better than they get credit for.
Yep.
But Jamar Chase, he only trails Cooper Kupp right now in receiving yards. And since there is an extra game this season, he and Kupp both on pace for 2,000-yard seasons.
Which is wild.
And actually, both of them are outpacing Calvin Johnson currently for when he set the receiving record at like 1,900 yards and some change there.
Yeah.
So what Jamar Chase is doing is really special because he's also had 21 fewer
receptions, right?
Receptions than Cooper Kupp. So he's turning small plays into big gains and just he's a legit deep threat. He's playing, in my opinion, a lot like Tyreek Hill, where you just can't stop him. And there's just big play, like a big play by him in every game.
Was it like an 82-yard touchdown, I think, yesterday that he had? And like, they dumped it off and he was just like, okay, bye now.
A little like 3-yard slant pass. He just took that. He broke 2 tackles to do it too. So,
I mean, now people were asking, so Jason asked, can you see the Bengals coming out as AFC champion? I mean, here's the thing. I said that they could be good this year, and I still am not completely, I don't want to say sold, because I feel like that I'm underplaying them. But like them I feel like they can definitely make the playoffs with how they've been playing. I feel like they could definitely make the playoffs. Can they beat a team like the Bills, maybe? I don't know. I mean, I think that, I don't know if that I would crown them as Super Bowl champions, but they might be able to do a lot of damage because you have that Joe Burrow, which you didn't really have a lot of tape on him last year. You have Jamar Chase, who's new to the league. You have that connection. Joe Mixon getting healthy, like they have a run game established, and they got Tyler Boyd. They got Uzma. Good God, like Uzma, he's crushing it. You know, I think that if their defense is able to stay pretty solid, they could be a big old problem in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, look, they get the Jets next week, so basically that's their second bye week coming up. Then the Browns, that could be an interesting game. The Raiders, that's interesting. Those are both, I would say, like 50-50 games for the Bengals in terms of final outcome. I think they'll beat the Steelers. Then they get the Chargers. That's a big test. 49ers look bad. Broncos are bad. Then it's another Ravens game. Chiefs late in the year. I don't know who the Chiefs will be then, but right now
the 3 games are tough. Those last 3, you got the Ravens, Chiefs, and Browns.
Yeah. Ooh. So, I mean, yes, I agree with Tom in that as good as the Bengals are, and I'm not trying to rain on your parade, Cincinnati, because you earned your number 1 spot in the AFC. It's a long season.
Don't listen.
We got to see you beat some more talented teams along the way. But the way you beat the Ravens
woke a lot of people up.
That put you up here.
Yeah.
You were right in the middle. You're like, damn. So there might be something going on with the Bengals. And now there is something. They are raging. They are raging with. Nobody saw us being this good this season.
No. And like that would be a team, like if JJ Watt was on the Bengals and he said what he said about the Bengals, you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense then. Cardinals, people know you're good. The Bengals, nah, they crush.
I think it mostly speaks to how good Joe Burrow really is.
Dude, he was so impressed. Like, watching him play, I will never forget that Thursday night game against the Browns when it was like the first real time that I actually got to sit down and watch him play football, and how poised he was in the pocket. Like, he's not afraid. The guy literally, like, he'll take a hit and he is a good football player.
I think he's the best quarterback that's been drafted since Andrew Luck.
Damn.
Because he went to the worst team in the league, and he's got him in first place now.
Ooh.
Like, your other arguments there might be Mahomes, Watson, but neither one of them were taken number 1 overall. And let's be honest, they both went to, at the time, the Texans and the Chiefs. They went to better teams than Burrow went to. Now, Andrew Luck went to a decent Colts team. They were really, really bad without Peyton Manning. But he picked up like right where Manning sort of left off in terms of that talent level. So I think the hardest thing to do in the NFL is be selected number 1 overall as a quarterback, because you're going to the worst team possible.
Yeah.
And then in his rookie season, he doesn't even get to finish it because he tears his ACL. So he comes back from an injury and now has this team in first place. Now has Zach Taylor. People starting to talk about him as, maybe coach of the year candidate when they wanted him fired last year. So this dude is doing a lot. Like, he's doing more than you can. Like, Trevor Lawrence has to have the Jags in first place at this time next season to be as good as Joe Burrow.
So like the only thing I would say is like Kyler Murray. Because like Kyler Murray went to a bad Cardinals team, and then they loaded him up, obviously, and now they're like doing really, really well. But he's also had more time, right? Like, he's had more time to play. But yeah, I think that Joe Burrow, like, he has definitely solidified as like, oh yeah, you made the right decision on who you drafted as a QB. Yeah. Like, no doubt.
And yeah. But I like Burrow. Like, you got Herbert coming up in there too, in terms of like, you're talking about how good these young QBs are, but for my money, I just think Burrow, he's got it, whatever it is.
I was listening. There was a conversation that was happening yesterday. I forget where I was reading it, but it was talking about like how crazy, and it is an anomaly that like QBs come out of school and immediately are good. Like, it's an anomaly. It doesn't really happen. No. But it's also, where it's been happening a lot is wide receivers. Jamar Chase, like, because of the season Jamar Chase is having, like, you look at Justin Jefferson last year, you look at AJ Brown coming out as well. Like, there's these wide receivers who usually are not like amazing, can't help the team right away, that are finding like these little these roles, and they are just exploiting it and doing well. And I think you see Jamar Chase doing so well because, I mean, like, they already had T. Higgins, they have Boyd, like, they have a bunch of threats. It's because of that Joe Burrow connection.
Yeah.
But I think it also helps too if you also have like another wide receiver to throw to. Like, you had Adam Thielen on the Vikings for Justin Jefferson. The Titans, I mean, they had some people for like a hot second, but it's fascinating, but it's also not like the standard, right? Usually it's the exception. So when you see these guys come out and play as well as they are, I mean, Claypool last year, I mean, Chase Claypool, I mean, he's obviously having a quieter season this year, but I attribute a lot of that to his QB. But yeah, you look at like a N'Keal Harry, right? Drafted at the end of the first round. And I mean, he made a nice play yesterday. But yeah, it's just, it's so interesting to just kind of see how like some of these guys literally like right from the get are like, oh yeah, we're going to be superstars.
Yeah. I mean, Jamar Chase is on pace to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
As he should.
I don't think anybody's going to catch him. Unless like Mac Jones wins all of the rest of his games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So wild.
Just Kyle Pitts, like tight end is the hardest position for rookies to be great at right away.
Yes.
Kyle Pitts is coming along. A reason for that. Same with receivers. One, he's got another threat on the opposite side in terms of Calvin Ridley. But also you got a quarterback who's going to get you the ball in Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan doesn't do everything perfectly, but he drops some dimes, and the Falcons do upset the Dolphins. They had the lead late. They gave the lead away, but they held on. Younghoe Koo, clutch, money, nails the game winner. But the story there is like, are the Dolphins literally going to acquire Deshaun Watson within the next week?
A week from tomorrow is the deadline, folks.
Ooh.
A week from tomorrow, November 2nd. That is the trade deadline.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, and Tua's not the reason the Dolphins lost this game.
They're focusing on the interception, and they're just gonna be like, that's why. But
both his interceptions were bad. Both were his fault. But he threw you four touchdowns. You got to give the guy time. I think you're better off not wasting your draft capital right now on the least certain thing you have in the NFL and Deshaun Watson. But they're the leaders, and the Panthers apparently emerged as the other team.
Their name popped up yesterday too. I mean, because Sam Darnold got benched. He got benched against the Giants. That's when you know you're having a bad day. When you get benched against the Giants. And their coach came out and basically said, these next few games are going to determine what kind of player he's going to be. Because he started off, he looked real good. We were talking about him all on this show about he's looking so great. He's using his feet, etc. He was saved from the Jets. And now it's not looking so pretty. And I think the loss of CMC really, really hurts because they don't have a run game really to rely on as much as they would be able to rely on CMC. But it's I think Deshaun Watson, the reason why any team would be willing to take that type of risk, and it's a massive risk. And I think it was Florio who was talking yesterday and saying why teams are willing to take the risk is because Deshaun Watson could settle at any time. All those lawsuits that he has going on, he could pay them a crap ton of money and he could settle the lawsuits and it could be done. And then if he gets punished by the NFL, he gets punished by the NFL. But it's because, as we were just talking about a guy like Justin Fields behind a bad O-line with bad coaching, what have you, Deshaun Watson had all of that. He had a bad O-line for many years. He had bad coaching with Bill O'Brien. He had all that, and yet he still was one of the best QBs in the league, and that is a complete anomaly. Yes, he had DeAndre Hopkins, but even without DeAndre Hopkins, he was able to be successful. So I think a team like the Dolphins or the Panthers or whoever winds up trading for him, if they do or is willing to take a shot on him, is because he is the kind of guy that can turn a franchise around, and you don't need to have all the pieces, but you know that you at least have your signal caller.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's amazing. He was probably one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch until all of this stuff sort of happened.
Sure.
And you got to let that process play out. We know.
Yeah.
But 22 people, I would call that fire where the smoke is.
Yeah.
He is that good. He is. If he went to the Chiefs instead of Mahomes, they would have won 2 Super Bowls already.
Because again, they don't he could do it without the players. He could do it and be listen, I'm going to go win a football game by myself. Chiefs have a feeling ain't making the playoffs. I mean, again, it's a long season, and Brandon Perna and I both know what it's like to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Even when they were down at halftime and it was that bad, I was like, he could still come back.
Yeah, that's what I kept saying during the stream. I'm like, Titans need one more score before I believe this game is over.
Yeah. And then another one, and then another one.
And then,
But the one game I also wanted to talk about was the Lions and Rams game. Because that game, going into it, I was like, we talked about it. I think that was the episode, the title of our Friday show, is Matthew Stafford going to throw for 500 yards? He didn't. He didn't throw for 500 yards. But the Lions, and I tweeted this out yesterday, the Lions did to the Rams exactly what the Rams used to do to the Seahawks all the time when the Rams sucked. It was all special teams. It was kick returns, onside kicks, right? It was fake kicks. And it was all the trick plays. And it worked. They jumped out to a lead. Their defense was actually playing pretty darn well. There for a time, I was like, holy crap. Could they actually do it? And I think what it came down to is just, as we've talked about, the Rams have so much talent on that football team that it just got overwhelming to the point where you can't stop everybody. It's gonna happen. The Rams are a team that just keep on coming back at you. And eventually they're gonna find success.
Yeah, nobody can cover Cooper Kupp. That's a problem if you're playing the Rams. Jared Goff, 2 picks there, but 1 really, really costly.
Yeah.
They marched down the field and they were doing it with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift
Yep.
in the fourth quarter. You're like, oh man, the Lions might take back the lead. And then Goff just throws a really bad interception in the end zone to Jalen Ramsey. So, yeah, and Matthew Stafford was perfect. Like, he didn't make any mistakes. 334 yards, left some completions on the field, but like he played really, really well. The Rams didn't run the ball effectively, and Dan Campbell gave all the trickery, all of the things you want your coach to give you as a team to make it. And his criticism rings even more true, I think, after that loss about Jared Goff, where you need more from your starting quarterback to win games. And it's not like Goff was horrible or like he played efficiently.
Yeah.
But when the game was on the line,
we get done.
He doesn't elevate the team. Like,
correct.
Like Aaron Rodgers in that situation.
Yep.
9.9 out of 10 times throws a touchdown there. Tom Brady in that situation throws a touchdown there. Like, to be a good quarterback, that is where you absolutely cannot make a mistake. And that's one of the biggest things that separates decent quarterbacks from great quarterbacks is when the game's on the line, are they going to screw up and throw a pick in the red zone or do something atrocious in one of those situations and not give their team the best shot to win? It's like Baker Mayfield's biggest criticism is late in the game when it's on the line. Like, he's like 50-50 on whether you trust him to finish or lead a game comeback drive. So,
I mean,
that was my takeaway.
Again, I think it just further proves like this was a team. And I honestly just enjoyed watching the Lions played because like, listen, we don't have a single win. Who cares? Like, who cares about onside kicks? Who cares about like, faking punts? Like, who cares? Just go for it. Because what do you have to lose at this point? Yeah. Like, they were playing like the Chargers were a couple of weeks ago, like just going for it on fourth down all the time. It was just that desperation. And I know that they haven't won a game, but you look at the one-win teams around the league. You got the Jets, you got the Dolphins, you got the Texans, and you got the Jaguars. I think the Lions could beat any of those teams.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they would beat them handily, too.
Yeah.
Well, the Lions do play the Eagles next. Steelers, Browns. Oh, they get the Bears in 4 weeks. That might be the Lions' first win.
Maybe.
They get the Broncos. That'll be interesting. And then they play the Falcons as well. So they've got some winnable games. They will get their win. And they're going to be fun to watch because I don't think this was like an outlier moving forward. Like, let's just go all out to win.
Yeah.
I think Dan Campbell is desperate to get that goose egg out of the win column, like, erased. So they could be fun moving.
Listen, I'm going to put it this way. When I played football in middle school, our team was the Giants, and our team was so bad, we didn't win a single game all season. We scored multiple touchdowns that were called back for penalties, and they were like pick sixes. All got called back. The last game of the year, we finally scored our first touchdown of the entire season, and they had a pizza party. So I feel like when Dan Campbell, when they finally get that win, they're going to throw themselves a pizza party. That's what's going to happen.
Tom Grossi and Brandon Perna playing on horrible middle school football teams.
There you go. That's it. They were bad. We were really bad. But yeah, that was great. Were there any other games besides Monday that you wanted to take a gander at?
What did we talked about? All of the most of the good ones. Let me look at my best and worst script here. Daniel Jones had an amazing one-handed grab.
He did.
The Patriots scored 1,000 points against the Jets. Talked about the.
By the way, I love how people are saying the Patriots are back. I'm like, it's the Jets. It's the Jets. Like,
I guess Sunday Night Football was kind of a
monsoon
mess. Yeah,
dude, that game was slow.
Oh my god!
It wasn't like god awful, but like it was so sloppy, and just the fumble after pick. It was just there was a lot going on, and I think the 49ers are just not good.
They're like the Chiefs right now.
They're just not a good football team, and I don't even know. Like Jimmy G they were running really well with Elijah Mitchell in the beginning. Like that one drive, it was all Elijah Mitchell. They're like, here you go, buddy. And like, they just went down and they scored. And then it was bad. Like Carson Wentz literally shuffle past it to the 49ers and they still didn't win the game. He was just like, here you go, bud. That's yours. Hold on to that.
Yeah. And I get like that much rain does make the game unpredictable. Wentz had some bad passes that could have been picks, but they weren't. And
there were some drop picks. Yeah.
Colts won a couple games. Do they play the Titans next?
God help them if they do.
Let me see.
They play Titans next. Yep. On Halloween.
Spooky. Yeah. So that's an interesting game coming up.
But then like they have the Jets and the Colts. They have the Jets and the Jaguars.
Yeah.
2 winnable games. Then they got the Bills. Then they got the Bucks. So that'll be 2 tough games. Then they still play the Texans. So
if they get to play the Jags twice.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars actually getting a little better. Getting a little better.
They are. They're a little better.
Jets are not.
Oompa.
Texans are not. So then we got Monday Night Football tonight.
Yeah, we do.
Saints and
Seahawks.
Listen,
folks. Jameis Winston, Geno Smith, a battle of titans.
Wow.
It was going to be up in the air if I could stream this game because of all the work I had to do today. Now it's most likely not going to happen at all. I'm not going to cry about it because
nope. Got to put your life first sometimes.
Yeah. We're going to try to get the AFC West fit out still, but this game, I feel like you have the 49ers in the basement. They're chilling and having themselves a good time. But the Seahawks and 49ers, Seahawks desperately need Russell Wilson back. Desperately.
Oh, yeah.
And could they beat the Saints? Sure, because the Saints are so inconsistent. I honestly have no idea what their team is. But they're also starting to get some guys back from injury, which could definitely turn the tide a little bit. But I have the Saints taking this one. I picked them for the Pick'em League. So,
yeah, I think the Saints are going to win as well. I mean, I want the Saints to be competitive and good because I need the Bucs to have something to possibly beat them in their own division. Otherwise, it's just Tom Brady again in a horrible division where he can just go on cruise control and finish maybe this season with 700 touchdown passes. I don't even like. That's the only reason I want the Saints to be good at this point is to give the NFC South like some flavor moving forward. Because I don't think the Falcons, they beat the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And their defense is still really bad. And I think that's another reason Tua looked good is he played a horrible defense. So, and the Seahawks are dead to me until Russell Wilson returns.
Brandon Perna, I have $1 million question for you. You ready for this? So yesterday, what happened was Mike Evans gave away his 600th TD ball to a fan. And they had to go over the fan and they had to negotiate terms to get the ball back.
Yeah.
What would you, if you just happen to be in that stadium because you're like, you know what? I came here to watch the Bears. You're in that stadium. Mike Evans hands you that ball. Do you give that ball back or do you literally deflate it in front of Tom Brady just to watch him cry?
Yeah, I say he can have it back if he puts in his resignation letter immediately. If he retires, he can have this ball. And he has to retire now or before the end of this season.
Before the end of the game.
Before the end of the game, yeah.
Just like that Bills guy, that Bills defender who retired at halftime.
Yeah, that's how you know that dude is like a Patriots fan would never do that. Like the Bucs fans just got Tom Brady and they're like, yo, that's his 600 touchdown pass. We need that ball back. And the guy was like, well, what are you going to give me for it? Like he negotiated that he wanted something for that ball. That is, I like that.
Tony Romo said it was a bad deal because like they were going to like get him like a signed jersey. He gave him another date. Like they gave him another ball or something.
Tony Romo said the guy should have asked for a day with Giselle. Like I've got a whole bit about Tony Romo in this best and worst episode today.
People were asking me like what I would do to give the ball back. And I said season tickets so then I could sell them. So season tickets, right? I want a signed jersey so I can sell that crap too. And then I want him to make a video right in front of me saying that Aaron Rodgers is a better QB than Tom Brady.
Oh, love it.
I wanted those 3 things, and then I would give him the ball. I'd be like, here you go. I make a couple $1,000. People were like, that's a $500,000 ball. I'm like, I don't know about that, but it was worth money. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that was worth like tens of thousands of dollars. But
Tom Brady said he's going to give that guy's going to get something nice. So we'll see what happens. Also, there was
with his car.
There was a touching moment. A kid in the Buccaneers stands had a sign that said, "Tom Brady help cure me of brain cancer," or something to that extent.
And he signed his hat and gave it to him.
Yeah, which is like really cool that Tom did that during the game. Obviously, a classy move. I think everybody obviously happy this kid got to go to the game, got to beat brain cancer. And it's just funny to me, though, like we're like the credit Brady's getting there in terms of like what player wouldn't do something in that situation if they saw like that sign. Like, obviously Brady did the classy thing. Sure. Everyone's like, God, Tom Brady just such a like. I can't imagine there's a player is there a player in the NFL who wouldn't do something in that situation though?
You know what? It's funny you say that because I have a story about that.
Oh, do you?
It is about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
okay. No. So years ago, Aaron Rodgers is walking through an airport, and there's this woman there that is asking for an autograph, and she's a cancer survivor, and he just walks past her, and the media flipped out and was like, Aaron Rodgers is like the worst person ever. He's terrible, blah, 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 blah. Turns out that he has already signed multiple things for her. And she was like the kind of fan that shows up at the airport, like when the team comes in and like says, like, sign this thing for me. And he said that he's like, I've signed so many things for her before. Like, you know, I'm glad she got better, what have you. But like, it's funny you say that because like that happened in which like he like snubbed that one fan who he already signed things for. And like the media was like, oh my God, he's the worst person ever.
Yeah. Like basically if like that's on your team PR, right? Yeah. So like maybe Brady did see that during the game and like he went out of his way to do it, but I'm assuming there's like a good unit of, you know, Buccaneers guys down there like, yo, Tom, we got to go, you know, see this kid before you get off the field. Like to me, that would be a sign like your team's not paying attention to what's happening around them. But
they were bored. They're beating the crap out of the Bears. They're like, let's see what kind of fans we got today.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields like, I just want to go home. The one thing I do love is every time Justin Fields has a bad game, someone retweets a picture of him being sad on the sideline and his quote of like, the game is kind of slow for me.
Yeah.
I was just like,
yeah. That's great. Anyway, we did it, Tom.
We did it, buddy. Brandon Perna, I appreciate your flexibility, folks. I appreciate we coming in a little bit late. We got over 2,600 people still to show up. Take that, McAfee. We went one-on-one. Montez Burfict said Montez would have hit the kid. he would have gotten a headshot because Burfict said that's what he goes for. He's not in the league anymore, is he? Is he done?
Yeah, he was with the Raiders last year and then got
kind of
unfairly suspended for a hit that wasn't like super intentional, but it was
because of all the previous.
Yeah, and he was actually playing pretty well up until that point. So, but I don't think he's playing. But we did it. We made it through the stream.
Woo! We did it. Folks, we'll be back on Wednesday at 11 a.m. unless there's a medical emergency, but at 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Appreciate you, folks. This has been another edition of GPS. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon freaking Frackin' Perna. You just been navigated.